Right, so as a part of my free e-commerce email marketing course that I'm putting together for my YouTube channel, in this module of the course, we're going to cover email marketing segmentation in depth. So here's our agenda for today. So we're going to cover 3 key points. What is segmentation? Why you should actually segment, why is it so important? And then I'm going to show you 7 key segments you need and how to make them inside of Klaviyo as a complete beginner. So here's a little bit about me. That's what you want to know. If you don't care, that's also fine. So what is segmentation? There are 2 key terms you need to know in this domain, okay? Lists, there are lists, and there are segments, okay? And I'm going to explain the difference. So lists are pretty much self-explanatory, I guess. They're static, okay? So this means that they don't really change by themselves. Once someone is added to your list, they're going to stay on the list until you either manually remove them or they bounce. So that basically means they receive an email from you and the email address is not active anymore. It doesn't exist, whatever. Or it's like their inbox is full, whatever. So the email bounces and that is going to ruin your deliverability. So Klaviyo removes it for you, okay? So that's basically it. But both of these cases are very, not both. Like this case, bouncing is very rare and then you removing it manually is like, you know what you're doing, okay? So once someone is added to the list, they can get added by opting through your pop-up form or any other list growth method. If you want to see how do you create a high converting pop-up form as a complete beginner, go ahead, watch this video. It's going to pop up right now. It's also a module of this course, okay? Segments, on the other hand, are dynamic. So this means that they change based on specific definition or requirements you set, okay? So basically you set some sort of requirements, some definition, something that these people on the list need to meet in order to enter this segment. And then if they stop meeting that requirement, they're going to be manually, automatically removed from the segment, right? So it's dynamic. It changes constantly based on the requirements. So here's a screenshot from Klaviyo. You can see this is a list and segment section in Klaviyo, okay? So you can see what it looks like. I guess if you're using Klaviyo or any other email service provider, you're going to be very, or at least somewhat familiar with this section because it's pretty much the same for every single one of these. So Klaviyo, Omnisend, whatever you're using, doesn't really matter. But you can see here segments. So 6-day engaged, 45-day engaged. Then we have a list. So giveaway list. Then we have, for example, these segments, SMS subscriber segment. And then we have 50% random list, whatever you can see. So it's a type here. Then we have members, so number of people in the list or segment. And then we have date created. Doesn't really matter. I just wanted to show you this in case this is your first time seeing this. Now, example of a segment. So here's a segment, an unengaged segment. So this is the definition, okay? So you can see that the requirements for someone to get added to the segment are the following. So person has opened email at least once over all time, and then person has opened email 0 times in the last 180 days. So the first thing you can see is that you can set multiple requirements, right? It doesn't have to be like only one thing. And then you can combine them with these like logical operators. So you have operator and then you have operator or. So and means that they need to meet all of the requirements. So they need to meet requirement A, this one, and they need to meet requirement B, this one, in order for them to get added to the segment. If you had or here, it will be person has opened email at least once over all time, or person has opened email 0 times in the last 180 days. It wouldn't make much sense in this case, right? Obviously. But if that was the case, if they had or instead of and here, that would mean that the person would need to meet only one of the requirements, okay? So these logical operators are very, very important. You need to be very, very careful with them because if you mess this up, if you put or instead of and, the whole thing is not going to really make sense, okay? Now, it's very simple, like it's very logical, right? You're not stupid, I guess, like you're going to get it right, but you need to be careful with what you're putting. Like if you misclick it or something like that, it's going to completely change the definition of the segment. So it's not going to make sense. It's going to be wrong, okay? But as I said, it's super simple. Like I guess you're not an idiot, so you're going to get it right. Like it's super logical. Now, why segment? So segmentation use cases are vast, as you can imagine. So as you can imagine, segmentation allows you to target very specific parts of your list based on their behavior, location, etc. So for example, behavior, you can target them based on their purchasing behavior. So for example, they made purchase 3 times in the last 6 months, or they, abandoned their cart, stuff like that, right? Or you can target them based on their behavior when it comes to your marketing. So the way they interact with your email. So they open emails 0 times in the last 180 days, as you could see in that example. Or they, for example, open 3 emails in the past 6 months, whatever, something like that. Like you can target those people specifically, those segments, right? Based on their very specific behavior. Location. So for example, we had a client. I'm not really going to talk about what they were selling and everything, but let me give you a brief understanding of their business. So they basically had their D2C channel, standard direct-to-consumer e-commerce brand, right? They were selling through internet, but they also had some sort of physical locations. So for example, if you have a similar business, what you could do and what they were doing is like they have this physical location, a few of them, right? And they're throwing an event in one specific location. So what they would do is like they would make a segment of the people who live nearby that location, in that town, that part of the city, whatever, and they would send emails to only those people about the event. And they were like, hey, we're throwing an event in this facility. If you want to come, you're invited, whatever. But the email would be sent only to those people who are nearby. So as you can imagine, let's say the event was held in one of their locations in LA, but usually people have like people on the list from all parts of the world, really, right? Let's say they were holding an event in LA, but there are people in New York and like Europe and Asia and whatever. Like people from LA would care about the event, but people from Paris wouldn't really care, right? So that's why you can make a segment with people from a specific location and then target only those people. So because of segmentation, it can really help you get this stuff. So better deliverability. I'm going to explain in a minute why is that. More sales, personalized customer experience, and lower Klaviyo subscription. So in terms of deliverability, I actually made another module explaining that in detail. So it's going to pop up right now. Go ahead and watch it if you don't really know how to fix your deliverability or struggling with it, right? But briefly explain, basically, email service providers such as Google, Yahoo, and etc. Right? They want to see people actually engaging with your stuff. So how do we fix our deliverability? We send it only to the people who engage with our stuff, right? Mostly to those people. So that way, we're going to get better deliverability because people keep engaging with our stuff, and that signals to service providers that people like our content and they want to keep receiving it. Okay. More sales. So let's say, for example, there are people who are very close to the sale. They are viewing the product, adding it to cart, but they're not really purchasing, right? You can send a few more emails every single month to those people and try to push them over the fence. And I'm going to show you every single one of these segments, how to make them later on in the video. So don't worry about that. This is not just some theory. I'm going to show you practically like the definitions for every single segment. Okay. Personalized customer experience, I already explained that briefly with location. That was an example, but other stuff is also applicable, but that's up to you really because it can get very, very specific based on your business. And then lower Klaviyo subscription. So basically Klaviyo charges you based on the amount of people you have on your list, right? So if there are people who are not engaging with your emails anymore, like for a long time, it's like better for you to remove them and pay less for Klaviyo than to keep them on the list and like hope that one day in like 3 years, they're going to maybe open your email and then maybe buy something from you. Because if they actually need your product again in like a year, they're going to find it, they're going to come to your website again, opt in through your pop-up form and then buy from you, okay? It's going to be that simple. Because if people want something, they're going to get it. So don't worry about that. That's how you can actually lower your Klaviyo subscription. Now, here are some key segments, basically 7 key segments is what I'm going to show you in this video. X-Day Engage. So this is going to be the most important segment you ever made, okay? If you're going to take one thing and apply only one thing from this whole video, let it be this one, okay? This segment is going to be made of people who engage with your emails or your store or whatever in the past X days. So common segments we use, especially for our clients, are like 14-day engaged, 30-day engaged, 60-day engaged, 90-day engaged, 120-day engaged, and 180-day engaged, okay? Again, you can push it like to 365-day engaged, like 1 year engaged, or like 7-day engaged, whatever. But these are the most common ones. Again, like the definition is going to be the same. The only thing you're going to change is the number. So from 14, you just change it to 30, and it's going to be the 30-day engaged segment. You just change the number. Make sense? Okay. Now, you should be sending most of your emails to your engaged segments. Which one exactly is going to depend. I'm going to explain to you why in a second. The reason these segments are so important is because they help you maintain good deliverability, as I explained previously, like a minute ago, since you're only sending to the people who are already engaging with your emails, which signals to email providers that your content is valuable and that you should keep being put in the primary inbox, just like I said. The worse your deliverability, the smaller the segment you should be sending to. So for example, let's keep it like, I don't know if you know in Klaviyo, there's some sort of a deliverability score, which gives you a score of your deliverability from like 1 to 100, I think, right? So let me just put it that way. Let's say your deliverability is like 60. That would mean that you would need to send to a smaller segment compared to if your deliverability was like 80, right? So let's say it's 80, you're sending to your 60-day engage. It's like 60, you're sending to your 14-day engage. Obviously, don't take this like, okay, he said 60, so I should say send to 14-day engage. Like, I'm just giving this as an example, okay? Right? But that's kind of like the way you should think about it. Again, like you shouldn't really look at the numbers from Klaviyo, like this is my deliverability score and I should send to like 33-day engage because this is the math. There is no specific formula. It's just based on like, it's mostly based on like experience and like feeling, to be honest, intuition. That's like the way, like we basically develop that experience through working with various clients, right? But usually I'm going to give you a rule of thumb, which is basically that what we follow approximately is that you're chasing at least 1% click rate. If you're getting more than that, you can try sending to a broader segment. If you're getting less than that, you should send to a tighter segment. Again, the thing is like some industries, some businesses, some brands are going to reach like 3% click rate like this. That doesn't mean that their deliverability is so good. I mean, it does mean that their deliverability is very good, but it's also like due to their industry, their brand, their business, their audience, whatever. Some businesses are going to struggle to get like 0.7% click rate, even though like it's nothing they can do. Like everything is optimized. They're sending to engaged segments and people are actually engaging. It's just their audience is just not that really prone to clicking an email, at least, unless they're actually interested in buying something. That's like the way it is. But this is just a rule of thumb that you could try following for your business and that an average business could really fit into. Now, every other, as I said, is different, so you shouldn't really take this too seriously, but it's a good place to start, okay? So here's a definition of this segment. So I'm going to walk you through it. Again, you can just go ahead, pause the video and like get this whole thing. You can see the screenshot from Klaviyo and then the definition here. Also, what you can do is like this document is going to be linked in the description completely for free. No need to give me your email, opt-in or something like that on like my email list, whatever. You can just go ahead, click the link, open the doc up and copy and paste this into your Klaviyo, OmniSend, whatever you're using, doesn't really matter. So the definition, here we go. Person can receive email marketing and very important, person has opened email at least once in the last 30 days, or person has clicked email at least once in the last 30 days, or person has been active on site at least once in the last 30 days, or person has added to cart at least once in the last 30 days, or person has checkout started at least once in the last 30 days, or person has placed order at least once in the last 30 days, and person has bounced email 0 times over all time. So basically, person can receive email marketing. There are people on your list who did not opt to receive email marketing, but are on your list. So basically, for example, they bought something from you, but they did not opt through pop-up form, but you have their email address because they had to fill it in when checking out, right? So we're filtering those people out because they haven't opted in for it, right? And we want people who interacted with your emails at least once in the last 30 days, or people who have been interacting with your store in the last 30 days. Doesn't really matter which one you get. Those are all engaged customers. And we don't want people who bounced email anytime because those people are going to ruin your deliverability. So how do you actually create this inside of Klaviyo? So you go to lists and segments. You're going to find it on the left side, right? You come there. You're going to have the button up here saying create list or create segment. You click there. You create a segment and you're going to get something like this. You're going to add these filters, add these conditions. You can see it here. Actually, I can't zoom it in to show you. But it's super simple. Again, as I said, you're going to click add condition. You're going to add conditions like the same ones I told you here, and you're going to get your segment. It's very, very simple, as I said, but you'll need some time to get used to it if you haven't made any segments before, but it's super simple. You're going to get it right. As I said, just go ahead, grab the doc in the description, copy and paste all of these conditions into your Klaviyo, and you're going to have all of these segments. So next segment, unengaged. This will be the segment of people who opened your emails in the past, but haven't done so in a while now. Okay, so with this segment, you have two options. You can either try to re-engage those people by sending them like one email a month, or you can just suppress them immediately and lower your Klaviyo subscription. The choice is really yours. Like there is no better option. What I would probably do is like try to do this once or twice for, let's say, for 2-3 months. Let's say you send them one email a month. Try to see how they react. If you get a lot of people who re-engaged, great. If not, just suppress them immediately the next time because you don't want to waste your time and you don't want to ruin your deliverability. Because naturally, if you send this email to that unengaged segment, the engagement is going to be way lower than if you're sending to your engaged segment. So it's going to actually affect your deliverability. But I would try doing it for like 1 to maybe 3 months, see how it goes. If it goes well, if people actually get re-engaged, great. If not, suppress them and like pay less for Klaviyo. That's it. Now, here's the definition. So, person can receive email marketing. Again, the same thing. For every single segment is going to be this because we don't want to be emailing people who haven't actually agreed upon to it, right? Person can receive email marketing and person has opened email at least once over time. So we want people who actually engage in the past, like once at least, and then haven't engaged ever since. So in a long time, basically. So person has opened email at least once over all time, and person has opened email 0 times in the last 180 days, or person has clicked email 0 times in the last 180 days. Now you could argue like this condition is like not necessary because if someone clicked an email, it's necessary that they open an email. But the reason I put it every single time is because sometimes like Klaviyo can like mistrack some stuff such as opens and clicks. So this way you're kind of like you're basically avoiding the mistake Klaviyo can make. It's not going to happen very often, but why not add it? It can like add an extra few people if it happens. Okay, so why not? So again, here's the same thing from Klaviyo screenshot of this segment. Go ahead, grab the doc, copy and paste it. Super easy. Now, potential buyers. So this is a segment of people who haven't bought in a while, but their behavior is suggesting that they might be potentially interested in buying from you. So you can try to hit these people up with some sort of a deal to get them over the fence, or like send an extra few emails a month to try to push them that way, whatever. But something like that could be a good strategy, especially if you have a big segment of these people. So you can create this segment and see how many of them there are. And if you have like a few hundred, a few thousand, maybe if you're a bigger brand, you could hit these people up with some sort of a deal, few more emails a month, something like that to try to push them over the fence. Now, here's the definition. Again, person can receive email marketing, and person has placed orders 0 times in the last 30 days, so they haven't bought in the last month, and person has been active on site at least once in the last 30 days, so they haven't bought, but they've been viewing your site, or person has viewed product at least once in the last 30 days, or person has added to cart at least once in the last 30 days, or person has checkout started at least once in the last 30 days. Again, you could be like, yeah, if they added to cart, they obviously been active on site, but again, same thing. Let's just make sure there are no holes that these people can slip through because they're very valuable, because they're near purchase. Again, screenshot from Klaviyo of this entire segment. You can go ahead, copy and paste it, grab the doc in the description again, completely for free, no need to opt in, like it's free for you. Winback potential. So this segment is made up of people who bought from you in the past but haven't done so in a while. So try to get these people to buy again in 2 ways. through your Winback flow that we cover in the flows video. It's going to pop up right now. Go ahead and watch it after this video. Or by sending an extra email to them with an exclusive deal, for example. So again, pretty much a similar strategy you would do for your potential buyers, but this is just like Winback potential because these people haven't bought in a while. So definition: person can receive email marketing, and person has placed order at least once over all time, and person has placed 0 times in the last 180 days. So they haven't bought in a while, so trying to get them to buy again. Potential buyers haven't bought in a while, but they also are expressing an interest by like engaging with your site and like viewing products, adding to carts and stuff like that. That's the difference. So super simple segment, but again, could be very, very valuable. So I would definitely leverage this thing. VIP customers. So these segments represent the customer who bought from you multiple times. So for example, 5+ times. You can also define the segment based on the amount they spent with you, but I prefer the number of purchases since it's way more predictable. So you can do like, if they spent, let's say, $600 in total, they're now a VIP customer, but also they could have done like $600 in like 2 purchases, like of 300 on average, right? Or you could target people who actually came back 5 times to buy from you. So I would prefer that because yes, they might have spent less, but they also came back more times. So that's a little bit more valuable, and it's also way more predictable because those people you can see come back over and over and over again, and then it's actually more valuable for you to hit them up with some sort of a deal, like a few more emails a month, whatever. So as I said, there are 2 things you can do for this segment. Create a VIP flow, thanking people for being a loyal customer, and maybe hitting them up with a VIP exclusive offer. So let's say your definition for this segment, again, it doesn't have to be 5 times, like it would really depend on your average order value. So let's say your orders are actually big, like you're selling something expensive. It could be like 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, whatever. It's like if it's something cheaper, it could be 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, whatever. It's really up to you. You can really define your segment because it's your business, right? But let's say it's like 5 times. When someone buys something from you for the 5th time, they become a VIP. So it could be like people who buy something from you for the 5th time, they get this flow and they get an exclusive offer to buy something from you again for like 20% off or something like that, right? This way, first of all, people feel like, oh, I'm VIP. They feel special. They feel important, right? They feel like they're being seen by your business. Like you're actually paying special attention to them, which is like very, very valuable for those people. And also you're like getting them to buy again, even though if they did not plan to buy again, but you're giving them a very good offer. They bought for 5th time. Why not 6th, right? So they give you more money. Why not, right? Or you could send an extra, or not even or, like, and you can send an extra 1 email per month to nurture them, and or send an exclusive deal. So you can just send 1 standard email, which is like providing value, showing the product, whatever. Or it could really be an email that is like sending them an exclusive deal, like, hey, you're a VIP customer, here's 15% off for the next 3 days, whatever, something like that. So that's very valuable. Again, these people could be very, very valuable to you because they represent people who are loyal to you and spend a lot of money with you, okay? Now, definition. Person can receive email marketing, and person has placed order at least 5 times over all time. Again, very, very simple. And you can change it. It could be 3 times, it could be 7 times, it could be 10 times. But 5 times is usually what most people like to do because it's like enough. It's like not too little, not too much. So there'll be enough people in the segment, but not too many, right? It makes sense. Suppress list. So this is a segment of people that aren't engaging with your emails, and it might even ruin your deliverability if you email them by bouncing, okay? Also, by suppressing them, you lower your Klaviyo since you're being charged based on your active profiles. So basically, the more active profiles you have in your Klaviyo, the higher your bill. And if those people are not the people you're actually actively emailing, why do you have them on your list? Why are you paying for them? Okay, it doesn't make sense. So suppress them, get rid of them. Here's the definition. Person has opened email 0 times in the last 180 days. You could really change it up to like a year, 3 months, 9 months, really up to you. We usually like to do 180 days, but for like longer sales cycles, it could be more. For shorter sales cycles, it would be less. It could also depend on the frequency of how frequently you send. So let's say you send 2 emails a week. It could be very different to sending like 5 emails a week, right? So that's something you need to take into account, but you will be very safe with like 6 months, okay? And then we have, or person has bounced email at least once over all time. So we don't want bouncers on our list. Or person has marked email as spam at least once over all time. We also don't want people who mark our email spam because that is going to really ruin our deliverability, okay? Again, screenshot from Klaviyo, take it and copy and paste it. Email non-opener. So this is a segment you'll create for specific emails you send. So this should say send, sorry. The idea is that you resend important emails to people who haven't opened them. So for example, let's say it's November and you're doing your Black Friday launch, okay? And there is a 20,000 people on your segment list, whatever that you're sending to. You send to 20,000 of them, you get 50% open rate, 10,000 open, 10,000 done. What you do is you create a segment of these people who have not opened that email, so the 10,000 that did not open an email, and you resend the same email to those people who haven't opened it with a different subject line and preview text, but the exact same email to them later. So let's say you send the first email at 12 p.m., you could send the other email at like 6 p.m., whatever, right? You resend it, and then those people can have another chance to open it, because especially during these busy times of the year, like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas, whatever, people's inboxes get cluttered, so they don't get a chance to open your email. That's fine. You resend it, they get another chance, they open it, and they buy from you. Super simple. So as I said, someone might have been busy when you send the first one. So this way, you're maximizing the chance that they see your email. So basically, you just duplicate the campaign. Go ahead to like Klaviyo, OmniSend, whatever you're using. Click duplicate, like 3 dots, duplicate. And instead of sending it to your entire list, you send it only to the segment. So you choose the segment, and that's it, right? So definition. Person can receive email marketing, and person has received email at least once over all time, where campaigns equals name. So you're going to put the name of the campaign that you sent. And person has opened the email 0 times over all time, where campaigns equals name. Okay, so you can see here, you really need to actually pull out the exact campaigns you sent, but it's going to be simple. You can actually search it here, so you're going to find it very, very easily. So I hope that makes sense, right? It's super simple, and it's very effective strategy that people don't really use, but it's, as I said, going to really maximize the chances people open your important emails, because they might have been simply busy. So that's it for this video. If you need more help, in the description you can find, first of all, this document, but also you can find a link to my calendar where you can book a call with me to get a free Klaviyo account audit or OmniSend account audit or whatever other email service provider you're using, basically your email marketing account audit, so we can find out whether we can help you scale your brand on a purely performance basis with email marketing, which means that there is literally no risk for you, right? That means that you pay us on results. If you don't get your results, you don't pay us anything. If you get results, you pay us what we deserve, and that's it. Like, there's no risk for you, and there's a lot of risk for us, but we believe in us because we do a great job. So, as I said, that's it for this video. Go ahead, watch the other videos, watch the other modules of this course, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.